Rating my mending 1 through 10. Hi, my name is Lauren. I teach visible mending. Welcome to my new series where I go over some of my past visible mends and rate them 1 through 10. I talk about the products we used, the patch fabric I used, what I might have done differently, and how it's held up over the years. So let's get started. This is my favorite jacket. This got me into visible mending. This is the reason why I started and looked it up in the first place because I wanted to save this holy grail denim jacket that I found at the thrift store over a decade ago. So we are going to start off with the embroidery going over the front of my jacket. Now this was something that originally was not supposed to be visible mending. It was just some embroidery that I was adding to my jacket, and it has turned out to be preventative because you can see on the other side of my jacket it has started to fray and worn at the edges. This was done 7 years ago. This is cotton variegated embroidery floss, and it is held up beautifully. I will say 10 out of 10 because I really love this. We use a satin stitch along the cuff of my jacket as well. The cuffs decided to separate and they were 2 different pieces. So I used variegated thread. Again, the satin stitch, I drew myself just a little bit of a line so I could embroider all the way around. It's also been like this for 3 or 4 years now. Nothing has unraveled on me and I haven't had to redo it, so I will give this an 8.5 out of 10. Our next stop is going to be the front chest pocket and the shoulder. I did the 2 chest pieces at the same time. Fabric was separating from where the heavy seam of the pocket was. I used our stick and stitch full sheet here and I used scrap thread. The shoulder patch was done about a year ago. The material was separating from the heavy seam of the jacket. I used one pattern from our stick and stitch volume 2. And you can see here in the inside, I used a bed sheet to mend and I used a t-shirt for the inside cap. Fabric on the inside is unraveling. The pattern looks really cool from the inside, which is what I wanted to go for. And naturally, we will move on to the other side. I used our full sheet stick and stitch grid. I made a pattern piece, put it on top, drew the pattern, and used scrap thread jar and the back stitch in this particular instance. On the inside again, I used bed sheet, and unfinished I just cut away what was in the embroidery, and I did this about 5 years ago. I would rate both chest pieces a 9 out of 10 because the inside doesn't look super great, but it's held up, so it's really up to you whether that takes points off or not. For me, it does not because it doesn't bother me because it's on the inside of my jacket. Who cares? The shoulder, I will do 10 out of 10 because I thought they came out really well and it looks great. I actually need to do the other shoulder. The last area we're going to talk about is the back of my jacket. Now, this is the first thing I tried to mend, I believe. It is not my best work. I decided to use a really thin African, I think it's like a cotton or rayon fabric, and boy has that thing unraveled. So I used something that unraveled very easily, and I have holes all over my jacket, which is fine. I mean, for the most part, all of it holds up. This large hole right here, you can see my fingers going through. That isn't great. And it's also continued to unravel. I do think soon I'm going to have to redo this mend, and we'll just see how it goes. I will say because it has lasted for 7 years, I will rate this a 7.8 out of 10. Moving right along, we have our elbow. Now I have actually redone this mend, so this is a read. I pulled out the old, cut off all the threads and added a new patch. I decided to use a white linen. This is like a scrap piece shirt that I had cut up. Now this one does look a little different because I decided to finish the edges of the fabric by folding it under, and so the patch is not fraying. I used the mountain form in our Sashiko beginners pack. Last but certainly not least, we are going to address this snake elbow mend. This is the first visible mending and embroidery mashup pattern I had ever done. It is small. It's smaller than even the smallest version we offer now. So 1, I don't love that. 2, I obviously should have gotten closer to the seam because as you can see, there's a big hole where my finger is going through right there. So not great, but we're doing our best. I think this is something that I am going to have to redo, or I think I'm going to add like mending all the way around to cover that seam. Yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful, and I'll catch you on the next.